What's a company secret you can share now that you don't work there?
If you were on live chat with customer care, I could see what you were typing before pressing send. I watched people work through grotesque, racist, sexist statements, fraudulent lies and mistruths, meticulous grammar fixes, and their whole range of emotions in real time before deleting and typing OK.
I worked in insurance billing at night as a side job while still going to school as a physician. I had the hard job of fighting insurance for things like a 4-ounce bottle of betadine 5% for $300 that your insurance doesn't want to pay for, or life-saving services that keep people alive like transplants, cardiac surgeries, etc. Sometimes, I would be fighting for months on these things and they would exhaust me and it would get so personal. I looked at their chart, their story, their history and visits. And over the years, I have written off or just erased several millions of dollars in medical bills just because I didn't have the heart to let it fall back on people. Tiny 3-day-old babies who needed new hearts, grandma who was only 50 who needed a new kidney, papa who needed a new liver, and new medical treatment for his condition, twin baby girls who needed surgery while mom was pregnant to save them both. A husband who needed brain surgery, his wife was pregnant. A firefighter needing cancer treatment. I just paid it all. Silently at night. All they received was a statement in the mail that things have been covered and medication/services are taken care of, like no balance was owed to the hospital, etc. But it was me. I just wrote it off. We used donations, funding, certain surgeries had special services to could connect into. Everything got paid, it just never fell back on the patient. I never met a single one of them. I just hope it helped.
I worked for Ashley Furniture. Most of the furniture you have delivered has been torn or broken and then fixed by techs in the warehouse. I saw countless couches get broken during the offloading process, and so many scratches to dressers and nightstands. The techs patched them up and passed them to the customer as new. Honestly, 85% of the products that went out for delivery were repairs. If you want to make sure you're getting something really brand new from the manufacturer, go to the warehouse to pick up your furniture. They will have to hand it directly to you without opening prior, and do yourself a favor and open it there to inspect it. You can ask them to open it, it's not rude, it's actually part of their responsibilities. The delivery fee is over $200, so you'll be saving yourself money plus the time it would take for them to pick something up that you later found was damaged. Also, those really big bedposts that look like carved tree trunks are actually 4x4s with some kind of plaster molded around to look handcrafted. They are cheap. I dropped one once and it shattered into a million pieces.
Government-funded refugee advocacy agencies at a time were approving a disproportionate amount of young women, 18 to 25, from Syria and Iraq with sexual assault history for their services. Upon further investigation, I and my team discovered consultants from said agency were engaging in sexual relationships with these girls. They were denying them opportunities of employment to keep them in financial destitution purposely. When the girls became desperate, the offer of private prostitution was made by the consultants. I whistle blew to the organization heads. They thanked me and the consultants were gone the next day. Huge meeting with senior board, apologies. This isn't the way we do things. Speeches, blah blah blah. And within 3 months, me and the other 6 other complainants and investigators had all resigned from the company for different reasons. On paper it looks coincidental, in reality we were all individually pushed out. 2 of the consultants that we uncovered were doing the worst were not fired. They were given the option to resign and are currently working at other agencies with vulnerable young women.
Worked at a lab that tested medical marijuana for safety, pesticides, heavy metals, mycotoxins, etc. The biggest cannabis brands would fail often with literal poison in their products, and rather than fixing it, would take their business to another lab and pay to get a passing certificate to sale. Part of why I left the industry, shady as hell, for something advertised as medical.
I worked in the seafood industry for many years. 2 things immediately come to mind. First, don't ever buy the pre-marinated cuts of fish that are sometimes for sale at the counter. Those are cuts that are about to turn bad, or already have, and the marinade is only there to mask the poor quality and smell. Second, more of just an FYI, but a lot of the fresh lobster meat you see is made up at least partly from dead and dying lobsters. Tanks and crates are checked daily, sometimes more frequently during the summer months, and the lobsters that croaked overnight are cooked and shucked for their meat. If you see a lot of straight tails, steer clear.
They are out of business now, but in the early 90s I worked at Radio Shack for a year and a half. When people would return an item because it didn't work, the manager of the store would just box it back up and sell it again as if it were new. When I asked him about it, he said, "Hopefully they will return it to a different store." I nearly got fired when I refused to sell a guy a walkie-talkie CB radio that I knew didn't work. The guy was on his way out for a hunting trip and was buying 3 of these for him and his friends. We had 2 and the third was the broken one. In front of the customer, I told the manager that one didn't work and I had tested it. The guy was happy. I told him, we arranged for him to get the last one he needed at a different store, and off he went. The manager was livid with me and nearly fired me. "I'm sorry, I'm not sending people out into the forest with gear I know doesn't work." Hilariously, a few months later the manager was caught stealing from the store and got fired.
I used to work for a software company that built software for call center transcribing and analysis. Essentially, every time you hear, "This call may be recorded for XYZ purpose," you are being recorded. Most call centers are recording you for analysis. These calls go through a transcription engine and are then redacted of personal info, since the transcripts are then stored in an enormous database. The company I worked for took it a step further and developed 2 new interesting products. One analyzed calls in real time, and would alert managers of an agent was breaking script, angering a caller, or skipped legal jargon they were supposed to read. The other product was an AI training on tens of millions of hours of call audio. This AI would be used to develop better answering bots, better analysis results, and other things that AI could do much faster than humans. I left when the AI department was still in its infancy, but it was a crazy project to see start. It was the most advanced software system I've worked on to date, and if you've called a company in America, you've likely been recorded and analyzed by it.
Nearly every single hot drink vending machine is disgusting inside. I went to ones in 5-star hotels in central Manchester to shitty ones in a factory break room. All rancid. Usually flies in them. Your drink will pass through stale or moldy dried powder milk before getting to your cup. The cleaners never actually clean them because they don't want to remove parts that could break, so the chutes are always built up with tar like coffee, and the milk chute will get moldy. Usually flies sat on it scoffing away. 9 times out of 10, the overflow bucket inside will have been sat for days without being emptied, causing a rancid smell or mold again and more flies. Same for the coffee machines at McDonald's. The staff are usually kids, so don't follow procedures. All they have to do is empty a container of milk, or what's left of it. Put in 2 tablets and press a button, and the machine cleans itself. They put folded up cup lids in to press the sensor down so it thinks it's got tablets, and whatever else they can find. The same thing as above, just less flies inside. All the lines your milk passes through go moldy. The valves have nice chunks of moldy milk. The dispense heads where your drink comes out have a little finger-tight plastic screw they're supposed to take out and just rinse. I've never been to a site in over 2 years that did it. Basically, a moldy water park slide for your drink to come out of. Basically, don't get hot drinks from a machine unless you're happy with it, most likely passing through a whole bunch of rancid moldy milk.
I remember my first job at a movie theater. When we would close, we would walk around and find full popcorn on top of the chairs. Our boss would put it in the machine to reuse, flushed face. That was one secret that I kept my mouth shut for the 3 years I worked there. I feel bad sharing this information now. Hopefully other movie theaters don't do this. But the one I worked at did.
Worked in the meat department at a common grocery store, let's refer to it as dangerous way. When the beef would begin to turn/go to green, we'd take it, flip it over so that the pretty still red side would be facing up, relabel it, and send it to our store over on the ghetto side of town. And I'm not talking natural oxidation color change. We'd call it go to green for a reason. Also, they just have us rinse off and repackage chicken that has started to smell like the floor cleaner. I demanded my mother stop shopping at that one.
Thank you for watching. If you like to watch more of these videos, please leave a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share it to your friends and family. I'll see you in the next video.